Most of Puerto Rico has been in the dark since mid-September. Officials estimate it could take another 8 months for the power grid to be fully operational. Meanwhile, leaders are pleading for life-saving help. USA Today: debris from Hurricane Harvey along the street on Copano Ridge Road in Rockport, Texas's Copano Ridge on Tuesday, October 17, 2017. Photo: Courtney Sacco, Caller Times, via USA Today Network. How are Americans recovering from the spate of back-to-back hurricanes that have slammed into U.S. states and territories this hurricane season? Depends who you ask and where they live. Each area: Texas after Hurricane Harvey, Florida and the U.S. Virgin Islands with Hurricane Irma, Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, got a unique clobbering from their respective storms and needed specialized federal help to steer them back to recovery. Together, the storms caused more than 260 deaths and an estimated $300 billion in damages, making it the costliest Atlantic hurricane season ever. More: second person dies of flesh-eating bacteria after Hurricane Harvey related. Harvey recovery: I'm going to be homeless for a year in Texas, where the destructive season began when Harvey barreled over Rockport and Fulton on August 25. 186 people were still in shelters as of Monday, and 122 federally funded temporary trailers were being deployed in South Texas, according to the Federal Emergency Response Agency. Complaints of long wait times for federal help can be heard throughout Texas, but power was restored in the state about 2 weeks after Harvey destroyed 5,700 poles and damaged 700 miles of power lines along the coast. In Aransas County, one of the hardest hit by the Category 4 storm, around 3/4 of the student population is returned to school, another key sign of recovery. Rowdy Maui in Rockport, Texas's Heritage District along South Austin streets on Tuesday, October 17, 2017. Photo: Courtney Sacco, Caller Times via USA Today Network. Days after Harvey's landfall, residents of Fulton and nearby Rockport noticed teams of utility bucket trucks from all over the USA-New Jersey, Oklahoma, California, rumbling through their battered towns and fixing light poles. They call them angels in buckets. The work that has been put into this town to help us recover has been nothing short of miraculous, said Rose Tran, principal at the Fulton Learning Center, which houses 4th and 5th grades. 3 hours up US Highway 59, the greater Houston area experienced a wholly different disaster, as Harvey dumped 50 inches of rain on the area, flooding neighborhoods, killing at least 30 and displacing thousands. As the floods receded, some neighborhoods quickly returned to normal. Other residents, like those living near the watershed Buffalo Bayou, had more damage and are still chasing federal recovery money. Earlier this month, a group of those residents filed a class action lawsuit against the Harris County Flood Control District, claiming officials there mismanaged 2 dams during the crisis and unleashed more floods in their homes. On the other side of town, renters in the Edgebrook area of Houston have been displaced from flood-ruined apartment buildings. With jobs lost since the storm and no place to go, the mostly immigrant families have been piling into other relatives' apartments, sometimes squeezing 7 or 8 members into one-bedroom apartments, said Zachary Rodriguez, a local high school teacher and community activist. Unlike the neighbors in Buffalo Bayou, these residents don't have the means or connections to sue their way back into their homes, he said. Houstonites, as well as folks from Rockport, Fulton and other impacted places across Texas, feel the media attention has largely left the area for other disasters, just as some residents needed it most, Rodriguez said. There's definitely a feeling that it's no longer front-page news, and it should be, he said. Houston will never be the same again. A man sits on the edge of a broken bridge spanning the Vivi River on October 20, 2017, in New Chihuahua, Puerto Rico. The bridge was washed away during Hurricane Maria, and ladders descending from the other side are the only way for members of the cut-off Rio Baja community to access the rest of Uchuado municipality. Photo, Mario Tama, Getty Images. In Florida, where Irma roared up the state's west coast last month, there were no people left in shelters, though 704,666 residents had their applications approved by FEMA for individual assistance grants that allow them to buy food and other emergency items, dispersing more than $818 million of those funds. And 27,759 families and individuals have checked into FEMA-funded hotel rooms while they look for more permanent housing. One of the hardest hit areas of the state was the Florida Keys, which bore the brunt of Irma's fury as it made landfall. Images of sailboats strewn across Keys highways, splintered homes and seaside restaurants reduced to rubble-filled TV screens immediately after the storm. Captain Richard Gomez, owner of Captain Conch Charters in Key West, tied down his 4 fishing boats prior to the storm. They survived mostly unscathed, but the island chain's destruction has chased away tourists and torpedoed his livelihood. His fishing charter went from 12 to 17 trips in an average September to 0 last month, costing the business about $50,000 in revenue. One of his 10 employees left the Keys, and Gomez had to go to work at his son's landscaping business to make ends meet. Despite the hardship, Gomez said the federal response has been robust. Days after the storm, FEMA paid locals by the cubic foot to help clean up debris and, along with professional crews, carted away mounds of tree trunks, drywall, branches, banged-up refrigerators and other debris, he said. The federal agency also distributed food stamp credit cards to help residents buy groceries during recovery and awarded grants to help pay rent. The government did well by the Keys, Gomez said. For now, Gomez is focused on getting his business revived. He signed up his first post-storm charters earlier this month and was encouraged to see that Fantasy Fest, Key West's annual Backkick costume party, is on this week, drawing more tourists to the Buttered Islands. FEMA was certainly in there helping out tremendously, he said. Recovery was super fast and we're good to go. By far, the rockiest road to recovery has been in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, territories that were hit with back-to-back disasters in Hurricanes Irma and Maria, about 2 weeks apart. FEMA has dispersed $5 million in individual assistance grants in St. Thomas, St. John and St. Croix, which were ravaged first by Irma and later Maria, and 229 people remain in shelters there, according to FEMA. In Puerto Rico, more than a month since Maria traveled through the center of the island, leaving much of it in ruins, most of the island is still in survival mode. Only 20